This is Surviving and Thriving, the Breaking Badass podcast, where we talk about all things from dating after divorce, healing from abuse, childhood trauma, and so much more. I'm your host, Bridget. Thanks for joining me. Well, hey there. Welcome to another episode of Surviving and Thriving, the podcast where we explore the resilience and strength of those overcoming life's toughest challenges. As you know, I'm your host, Bridget, and today we're diving into an incredibly important and often overlooked topic: the challenges that single mothers face, particularly those who have survived domestic abuse and violence and navigated the complex family court system. Today, we'll be discussing the multifaceted struggles single mothers endure, especially in the face of extreme financial abuse. This episode is dedicated to shedding light on how the system often fails to support these courageous women, leaving them to bear the brunt of financial burdens alone. And I want to share my personal journey with you. For many years, I have not received child support payments that were court-ordered. On the rare occasion that payments do come through, they are significantly lower than they should be. Now, despite being owed thousands of dollars in arrears, I have been the sole provider for my 4 children, living on an income of less than $100,000 a year. I know, you're probably asking yourself, how in the hell do you do it? How is that possible? I often ask myself the same question. And how is it that the other parent gets away with it? Maybe we'll explore those questions today. So, adding to these financial challenges, I am a BRCA1 gene carrier, and I have undergone a double mastectomy with reconstruction. Now, my toxic, abusive ex-husband was unaware of my hospitalization and the 2 surgeries that I had to endure. You see, during this time was really just a lot that I was going through. I was out on short-term disability. I was receiving less in wages and, again, getting the bare minimum in terms of support. And that was when we still had shared custody. In the past year or so, was also laid off from my job of 9 years. And that was devastating for me. It's never happened in my life. I faced 6 months of unemployment. Tirelessly, I searched for work, day in and day out. Unemployment in this country is a joke. I remember the week that I went back at my job searches and my submission of resumes, and in one day, I submitted my resume to 60 different potential employers. I had many interviews. I would receive initial emails, and then I would be ghosted by many. I hear that I'm not the only one. So during that time, I managed to ramp up my coaching business and secured a short-term, part-time contract job. But the financial support for my younger children remained non-existent. So despite these immense challenges, I never complained or reached out for help. In fact, I continued to keep a roof over my family's head, food on the table, gas in the car, all of my utilities on, and providing for my children everything that they needed without a full-time job and no financial support from the other parent. So this episode will explore how the financial strain placed on single parents, especially single mothers, can be overwhelming as well as isolating. To understand the broader context, let's look at some statistics. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 99% of domestic abuse survivors experience financial abuse. 99%. This abuse often continues long after the relationship has ended, severely impacting the survivor's ability to support themselves and their children. Now, financial abuse includes tactics like controlling access to money, sabotaging employment opportunities, withholding child support. That's just to name a few. These actions can trap survivors in a cycle of poverty and dependence, and making it incredibly difficult to escape the shadow of their abuser. Now, let's look at this in context with the family court system. It's intended to protect and support families, but it often falls short when it comes to enforcing child support payments. This systematic failure leaves many single mothers, like myself, struggling to make ends meet while their abusers evade financial responsibility. The stress of this financial strain cannot be overstated, as it affects not only the mother's well-being, but also the emotional and physical health of their children. So surviving on one income while raising kids, it's an enormous fucking challenge. The lack of financial support from an abusive ex-partner exacerbates this struggle, leading to long-term consequences for both the mother and her children. But the abusive ex-partner does not see this. The system seems to be set up that in a way that the families are set up for failure, pushing them towards homelessness, unemployment, instead of offering them the support that they so desperately need. I have heard so many stories of the abusive ex-partner who, in lieu of wanting to make child support payments, offers with the family of the abuser, because we all know that that's the biggest enabler, to purchase clothing, to pay a bill directly, because heaven forbid that money is actually provided to the mother who is caring for the children full time to help support the children and maintain their standard and quality of life, because it's always the mother's fault in the abuser's eyes. And that is something that has been created over years and years from our society and from lots of just toxic patriarchal norms. So if you're a single mother facing similar challenges, please know that you are not alone. If you're listening to this, know that I too struggle, and I have struggled. Here are some practical tips, because you all know that I give them in every episode, that I think may help. And I know that it's easier said than done. Seeking out community support. When I was laid off from my job, the holidays were coming around the corner, and I was really sad and scared that I wasn't going to be able to give my children gifts for Christmas. Maybe a thing or two, but nothing really that I typically would give them. And a lovely family from my son's school adopted mine and provided even me and my children the most amazing gifts. And it was under my Christmas tree. Provided me with gift cards for groceries It was the most amazing thing that has ever happened in my life as a single mom, all because I shared what was going on. I shared what was happening in our lives, and people see the truth, and our community has a big and caring heart. I was forever grateful. The school community embraced us. When it comes to getting help for navigating the legal system, don't go spending all of your life savings on a family law attorney. Do research first. Look into this first. There are some areas of the law where legal aid might be able to assist you. Restraining orders, legal aid can help. Custody cases, legal aid typically does not get involved. Anything you want to learn, you can read about it. And get mental health support. That also can be through a group of friends. Everybody needs some vent buddies and an amazing therapist. There's an emotional toll that happens to each and every one of us that's experiencing financial abuse. It's traumatic. And if you don't have health insurance, for example, there are mental health care clinics that take sliding fee scale. Do it. So let's talk about some questions that I have found are very common in these scenarios. Number one, how common is financial abuse among DV survivors, domestic violence survivors? Like I said earlier, I'm going to say it again because it's so important and sometimes people don't believe me. Financial abuse is extremely common. Studies indicate that 99% of domestic abuse survivors experience some form of financial control or manipulation. Baby daddy ain't paying child support, not because he can't. It's because he doesn't want to. It is a form of control and power and manipulation. It is a power move, and it's absolutely horrendous. Number two, what are some signs of financial abuse? Okay, let's go through it. Controlling your access to bank accounts. If you were in the relationship, you know what I'm talking about. Hiding financial information, sabotaging your employment. I was forced to quit my job when I was previously married. Refusing to pay child support. Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We all are going through this. If you're listening to this episode, you know what I'm talking about. Number three, how can single mothers enforce child support orders? Well, if there was a magic wand, I think I would solve all of our problems. We can seek the assistance of child support enforcement, social services, stay on your caseworker, help them out. There's a county attorney that represents your children. The social worker does not work for you. They advocate for your kids, the children of the clients. Document all attempts that you've had previously to communicate with the other parent about child support, all of the things. 4, what impact does financial abuse have on children? And I think this question is ultimately the most important. Financial abuse can lead to instability and stress in children's lives. This then can affect their emotional and physical health, and it can also impact educational opportunities and overall well-being. All right, baddies, thank you for joining me on this episode of Surviving and Thriving. Remember that the challenges that you face do not define you. Your strength and resilience do. If you or someone you know is experiencing financial abuse, reach out for help. There are resources and communities ready to support you. I am here and ready to support you. Send me an email. Let's have a conversation. Stay strong, stay resilient, and continue to thrive, baddies. Until next time, this is Bridget, signing off. Make sure you have followed this podcast episode. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Surviving and Thriving. If you found this discussion helpful, please follow and subscribe to our podcast for more stories of resilience and strength. Make sure that you share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it and join in on our community of survivors supporting each other. And until next time, stay strong, keep on thriving.